Okay, how you going guys? Back again with another video. Hopefully this time we can make some more progress, if not finish our Gorfang today. We're almost there. Yeah, I've got a lot more colours on my palette, or just more paint on my palette, because I've been working a lot on various other projects at the moment. I said I was going to clean this up, but I didn't get time to do it, so I'll do that now. Yeah, so I hope everybody's well and doing some hobby over the weekend. And thanks for people's comments coming in on the competition for the brushes. I had a couple of other character choices like Heinrich Kimmler from somebody yesterday, which is a good choice. I really like that model too. I really like the old 4th edition undead characters especially. They're really nice. Speaking of which, someone from Australia sent me a whole host of pictures of an undead army they're willing to sell or trade. So that sort of perked my interest a lot, and yeah, see how that goes, because we'll see where that goes, because I don't actually have an undead army, and I would like to have a 4th ed undead army. I know there is like the Vampire Counts army book for 5th that Justin uses in his games, because he prefers the Vampire Counts over the regular vanilla undead. Whereas I'm the other way, I prefer like the vanilla undead over the Vampire Counts. So that's another army we can add at some point, hopefully in the future. And as of this morning, I picked up a complete set of the Chaos Armies 5th edition box set from some guy in Australia, so I'm really happy about that. I'll get that sent over at some point, as all the international shipping is down at the moment, and it's just impossible to get anything at the stage. But yeah, at least I'm going to own that, so that's good. I did own it before, but like everything, I don't know where the hell it is. So I wish I had like an attic, because you see all these people with attics, you know, with photographs of finding stuff in their attic and that kind of thing. I'm just dry brushing, or sort of just wet brushing over. I don't know how to even term that actually. A wet brush. In terms of dry brush, maybe this is a wet brush of that. Is it blue grey? Pale grey, I think it's called. It's very light grey. Just doing that over the fur parts. Just using that small brush actually. I need to highlight that. There's some areas where I need to put some shading in, so I'm just going to grab some of that black. Just notice a spot down here. So another announcements this week. I did post up a teaser of the podcast that's in the making. Sort of still nutting out ideas and that kind of thing, but it's coming fairly soon. So I'm really excited about that, because it's like one of the things I've always wanted to do, or try at least, is do a podcast about this era of the hobby, as there's nothing out there for that. And as that's sort of my main focus for now and indefinitely, really. So I want to sort of make it very much a community-based podcast, where, you know, we have guests each month, and they get to talk about themselves a little bit, about how they got into the hobby, their favourite armies and models, and maybe like a list build that they would normally take to like a 2,000 or 3,000 point game or something like that. So yeah, I'm really excited about launching this new podcast. It'll be on the channel here, so because the main reason why is I want it more like a visual podcast, in that as you're listening, you're looking at pictures or photographs of people's armies or miniatures they're working on. So like as me and like Justin, because me and Justin are sort of doing it together, as we're talking, you know, about, oh yeah, I'm working on this at the moment, then we can sort of bring up the picture of what we're working on our workbench kind of thing. And as the guest is talking about their favourite armies or miniatures, then we can pop up the images of those armies and miniatures that they're working on or painting or talking about. So that was the main idea about that. Making it quite like a visual kind of thing. So yeah, that's coming soon, guys. So when that becomes an actual thing that's being released, then you'll see it pop up on the channel anyway. Otherwise, I'll advertise it on my social media outlets and that kind of thing. So yeah, we're still sort of nutting out what we're going to talk about. It's mainly going to be like more of a, you know, what did we buy this month? What did we paint this month? What are we planning to buy or paint for this month? Like maybe a painting challenge we can offer each other. And then maybe talking about the games we played. Just going to highlight this hilt with the Mirage Blue Grey. And then, yeah, talk about what kind of things we have planned for the month. Painting-wise, gaming-wise, and that kind of thing. And then, you know, with the guest, we can, you know, they can talk about their origin stories, because that's one thing I'm really interested in doing, is like getting the community to talk about their origin stories. I had some like a thread on the Hero Hammer group about that before, but it's nice to have just to talk to somebody directly about maybe, you know, how they got introduced into the wargaming hobby, and you know, about their first gaming store they went to and that kind of thing. I always find those stories quite interesting, and the games they initially played, and maybe the first army they collected and the first miniature they painted. And of course, you know, me and Justin will do our own origin stories, as it's the inaugural episode and we're just starting off. So yeah, plenty of things to be excited about. And also talking about, you know, for people who are maybe not familiar with the system of, especially like 5th edition, for example. Yeah, how would one get into the game if they don't have the rules and everything's obviously obsolete and no longer in production? How would one get into a game like this? And, you know, directing them to all the files and links that are on the group page. Maybe I need to have an external link for those files if people aren't on Facebook. Maybe do like a blog or something in the future that I could help with people who just want to print out the cards, the magic cards, and the items or templates or things like that, so they can just print and play at home. The rules are like, you know, in various places online that are like downloads. Probably you can find it on various places like Scribed, for example. But there are other sort of sites like the Trove and that kind of thing, where you can find all those old rule books and all the army books and that kind of thing. So you don't have to need to buy the physical copies, but the physical copies are still out there. You know, I'm in the process of collecting all those again, as I prefer the physical more than the digital copy, but, or a PDF copy I should say, but some people aren't bothered by that. Just going to go through the armour now. Let's see what we can do with this armour. I'm sort of just in two minds whether to make it like a rusty kind of looking armour or just do it with the with like the grey metals. I'm not really sure exactly. Highlight this up as well. As I'm thinking, I'm just going to paint up this base green, because that way we can sort of visually see it with a green base. It was something I like to do before I finish miniatures, sort of just paint it with the green base so I can see visually what it will look like. And just adds that initial layer there anyway. So I was looking at banner options as well, and I'm still thinking about how to make that crossbar banner without. I don't have any plastic ones left, and I don't have anything. I've got one that's way too big, so I need to probably think about that, and yeah, think of some solutions to that through the week. But I really need to get cracking on with the my Old World Army Challenge entry for this month, as I've not finished. I only painted those 2 Chaos Warriors, and I've still got 6 more to go, and I've got about 3 days. So that's going to be interesting. See if I can get that done. Just been so distracted with my rebasing project here, with my orcs, my black orcs, and that kind of thing at the moment. There's a slight preview. Here's one of the black orcs. I've redone the shields. I'm painting them much brighter now, giving them black armor or black colored armor. And yeah, I'm really happy with these guys now. This is my favorite figure in that black orc range. He's usually my leader or general, black orc general, war boss, big boss. So yeah, but I really like, I'm sort of going a bit crazy with the black and yellow now, with the Bad Moon sort of style, but I think it really suited them, so I'm really happy I did that. So that's taking a lot longer than I thought it would actually, and I still got a lot more work to do with that one. But when they're finished, I know that I'll be really happy with it, and I'll never have to change it ever again. Okay, so for the armor, even though we didn't, when I first started this, the armor was already, the armor colors had already been done and that kind of thing. Now I'm sort of just trying to sketch in some highlights and trying to neaten it up, and because it does look pretty rough at this stage. Well, I'm going to take some of that Caspian blue and see if I can just sort of even out some of that sort of really dark and light blends, so that we have some kind of medium color to work with, and then we can sort of shade back again. So it was a main part that we needed really to finish today, if possible. If we can't do it, then we'll have to extend this to another video to get that finished, but hopefully I can come to a point where I'm sort of happy with the armor, and maybe just need to just touch it up slightly just to get it where I need it to be. And not that I'm in a massive rush. I'm not I'm not sort of planning to play Gorfang or my orcs anytime soon with the lockdown, and well, we're not actually in a lockdown here in Japan. It's sort of like a state of emergency here, and you know, I've got to go to work today, so to go to the office, and so it's quite unusual compared to when you listen to other parts of the world. It's sort of very, very different here. It's they're trying their best not to go into any kind of lockdown here. But you know, as far as I know, everyone's sort of safe and healthy, even though the number of fatalities are increasing and the infection rate is increasing. But you know, I live, you know, geographically wise, to give you an idea where I live 100 kilometers north of Tokyo, so yeah, where we are is sort of not that badly affected by the virus. So even though I can get really frustrated with the governments here, like they've got like the you got like your prefectural governments, and you got like you know, the main government, and it's all sort of individually run, like separately run. Maybe like the States, maybe it's very similar to America in that sense, that they have their own sort of rules and laws, and basically it's up to each individual prefecture to make a choice of what they're going to do, and they just have to judge it for themselves, basically, unless overruled by the main government. But yeah, until they say, okay, you know, everyone lock up their doors and stay inside, then well, they say it, but you know, but it's impossible, isn't it? Like, yeah, if you have to go to work, then you have to go to work. And many people in that situation, so it's not only us, it's many people, so. What other news can I divulge you with? I think, yeah, for the podcast, when we talk about what things we bought this month, maybe you need to extend that for like the last 3 months or something like that. And I'm sort of just thinking through my mind about what stuff did I get. Some stuff I don't even have yet because it's in Australia, and I won't get it until all the international shipping stuff is sorted out. But in that care package coming from Australia will be the Epic Chaos Renegades box set. Yeah, loads of Chaos Epic stuff in there, like the what they're called, the Chaos War Engines, I think they're called, or Engines of Chaos, or whatever they are. 2 boxes of infantry. I've got all the Chaos Demons now. I've only got one of the Primarchs. The one for Tzinch. Yeah, it's Tzinch in Prime Magnus. So I just need to get the other 3. There's Angron for Khorne. There is I think more Tallarn for Nurgle, which is an awesome model. And the Slaanesh one, is it Fulgrim? Maybe. Memory's not as good as it used to be, but yeah, I think Fulgrim's the one for Slaanesh, and I need to get that one as well. And And then my collection of Epic Chaos is looking pretty good then after that. Okay, now that's some sort of basic highlights and just sort of blending out the armor. Now I want to make it sort of, I'll add some sort of shading to that armor and then sort of just sort of finish that off. So for the shading part, I'm just going to take a swig of tea before it gets cold. For the shading, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I just try a little bit of whole red for starters. Let's see how that goes. It's sort of my default brown that I use for shading things. So sort of thin that out quite a lot, and then okay, we'll go with that for now and see how that looks. I suppose if you wanted really rusty looking armor, you could use something like this, or like a very yellowish brown, or reddish kind of terracotta brown. I was thinking about using, yeah, like a red leather or brown, orange-brown color for it, but maybe the next time around, eh? As I'm still thinking about getting another one. That's the complete one with the studs on his shoulder pad. And possibly trading this for the painted version of this for stuff that I need. Or I could make one of these, or this whole thing black, and do checkers on it as a freehand. That would be quite cool too, actually. It would sort of break away from the original color scheme, but I think that will look really nice with one whole section of it checked out in black and white. Or you could do black and red checks. It'll also look quite nice. Black or yellow, black and yellow checks. But I think that's more of a Black Orc thing now, rather than a the Biggin sort of unit thing. So yeah, you could do that. I might try to do that gemstone now. That's the heavy green, isn't it? Just trying to remember what colours I got here. Just set that as a base, just for the moment. Yeah, shall I do that? The more I'm talking about it, the more I like it. So yeah, what the hell? We're gonna do it. Paint this black. So yeah, don't be afraid to make changes halfway through if you think it's going to be better for overall. Yeah, just do with it. Just go with what you think is best. I know I'm sort of going by the studio color scheme, but hey, you know, you've got to make it. You're going to make it personally your own. Maybe have your own sort of vision of what Gorfang should look like, or other character models, and just paint them in the color scheme how you want them represented on your tabletop. So maybe that could be like a bad decision. If it was, and if I thought, oh no, I regretted that, I don't want to do it that way. Just go over it. Just keep your paints thin. If you keep your paints thin, then you can always go over things. Point in case with my orcs I'm doing now, they're already painted. I'm not stripping back anything. I'm just going straight over the top of their original colors. So yeah, nothing's sort of set in stone. You can always go back and repaint things that you need to change. But already visually, I'm liking the contrast with the green and the black already. So, but I will keep this one in the regular grey metal colors. I will just start highlighting that now a little bit further. So guys, also, like as I always say, if you don't have the particular colors that I'm using, just get something that's equivalent, because you don't have to buy the specific paints. If you have something very similar, or you can mix it up yourself, then just do it that way. Buying paints is kind of like buying miniatures. You sort of want them all. I was looking at the website yesterday actually, because I need to buy just a couple of things, some basing materials for my terrain projects that I've got at the moment, and it's so easy just to go, oh yeah, well I need this, I need that, and I could do with this, I could do with that, and sort of racking up this huge bill at the end. And I had to just cut back and just realistically say, okay, well, I don't need those paints right now, and there's nothing I sort of need them for at the moment, so I don't really need them as such, and I can get them always later. They're always there, always available. I'm just gonna do another shade here. Yeah, I think that whole red looks quite okay with that blue-grey. And yeah, going back to the podcast, please let me know in the comments what you want to see. Now, obviously, it'll be on my channel. We're still going to do all the regular stuff like battle reports and possibly reviews or things like that on items that I purchased and that kind of thing. Now I've sort of gone back into the painting tutorials a lot more. The main reason why I really wanted to do that, always wanted to do that, and to have the channel used for, doing painting guides for a lot of the old miniatures. So that will never change. So just increasing the content as much as possible, basically, is my goal. And yeah, so whatever you want to see, please leave comments, give me feedback what you want me to do, because if I can do it, then I will. Because I'm really doing it for you guys. I'm not doing it for myself. I'm doing it for you guys and the wider community, and trying to get more people into playing the game or revisiting it to keep it alive as long as possible. So now, what was I going to do? I started rambling on. I forgot what I was going to do now. So I need to highlight the black shoulder pads and do those in checks. There was something else I was going to do. I just forgot. Nope, can't remember. It's gone. Okay, that's all right. We'll just carry on with the black armor. I don't want to highlight it too much, so I'm gonna. So I want them fairly black and not not grey at all. So I'm just going to put one very quick highlight there. Yeah, well, I have been staying up very late because I want to get projects done. I want to, get stuff finished. So I have been sacrificing a lot of sleep, which is something I don't recommend people doing, but that's the truth. I've got very irregular sleeping patterns now. Just due to my work, it's just, I finish late and I start late, but I have to get up early, so it's kind of weird in that sense that I've got to get my son to school and that kind of thing in the morning, so I've got to get up early, but I'm sort of staying up till about 2 or 3 in the morning. Okay, so I'm just using that park green and some beige as a highlight for that gemstone. And I'm going to contaminate that bone paint, but that's okay. I think that's almost dry anyway. Using that sort of bleach bone colour as like a final highlight down the bottom, if you can see that. Okay, happy with that. Now, this tip of this brush is kind of hooked a little bit, so I think last time I said I was going to get it, refresh it with a new one, but I haven't been doing too badly. Now Mike did these little sort of swirling flames here. I'll try my best to get them as close to his as possible. Yeah, talking about Mike, how many other painters can you think that was so influential as Mike McVeigh? Commercialized like Mike McVeigh, I don't think there are many. I think Angel Heraldez is sort of the next sort of, friendly face of miniature painting, like, with Corvus Belli and all that kind of thing. He's the only other person I can think of that's, with a company and they're sort of marketing that person with their incredible talent to, try to sell the hobby. And I had a chance to meet Mike very briefly back in the day, but like just a hello and to see his studio where he worked, where he was working. He was sort of working separately from the other painters in the studio at that time, so but yeah, talk about a dream job. Like Mike's a really good, not only a painter, but like a really good model maker too. Like all those dioramas that are still there at the Warhammer World in the UK, which is one place I would hope to go to one day when I go to the Bring Out Your Lead event in the future. I keep buying those lotto tickets so that if I'm one of those lucky ones that I'll have enough money to do it and take the whole family over. So that'll be quite a wild trip. Not for my wife though, I think she'd be bored shitless. Okay, we did our best with those. We need to put some orange on those as well, just to finish those off. Now there is a skull on that sword. Now, do I want to do anything with that sword before I start? I might just add some black and just make that quite dark in there to help the yellow stand out a little bit more there. Just mix that black and some of that whole red there too. Sort of want that sort of more darker before I put that skull freehand on there. I won't do it on the other side, I'll just do it on this side, this face. Just gonna take another swig of tea. But yeah, I think he's looking pretty good so far. I think I made the right choice with making that shoulder pad black now. I'm sort of happy with that now. Yeah, and the rest I just need to sharpen up a bit more. Now, okay, now the skull. I'm going to start with this brown here, and then we're just going to put a sort of like a shape of a skull here. You're quite small, isn't it? Oh, my arm just dropped there on the side, so that just... Okay, I was going to fill it all in. It's like a jawline here, the skull head here. I'll add some teeth, whatever, later. You had that, and you had a couple of, I think they were black lines or something, little swirly lines on either side, from memory. So we'll have to change that colour to something else. Let's get some bone colour here. Let's add to that. Okay. Now, as that's sort of drying, I'll just leave that skull there just for the minute. I'll just go back to this freehand on the check, on the shoulder pads, as I really want to see what that looks like. So I'm just going to grab some white here. And some of that pale, oh, there's a little hard bit in there, take that out. Pale grey in there as well, so it's not white, it's kind of like a slightly off-white. even though it is hero hammer, but I don't want it pure white. Only if it's like the final highlight on something like a white high elf uniform or something like that. Maybe I'll do it like that. But okay, so here we go. We'll start. So I'll just put a square in here. So basically the same principle as before with the other freehand we did on the lower part of the armor skirting. So just like as you would draw squares on a piece of paper, you just do it straight on the armor like that. Trying to give them as even as possible. You know, mine's not perfect. You know, you need to go back and adjust things as you go, just like I did before. I might just try to put 2 sections here. 3 sections we won't fit in. This will make up for the missing spikes on his armor, I think. Okay, so sort of taking shape there already. This one we will probably get the 3rd row. So if I did that and did that, yeah, get 3 in there. What am I doing? Made a mistake. Yeah, so please let me know, like I said in the last video, what kind of magic items would you give Gorfang if you're taking him to a battle? Maybe I'll be... Now, with the magic items, if you haven't seen our battle reports, the last couple anyway, we're doing like a random draft with the magic items. So basically, if I was taking Gorfang as a character, he's entitled up to, I think it's 2 magic items for Gorfang, so I think he's like a big boss. So I would, you know, take 1 magic item as being like a weapon, as you can only have 1, and the other one would be maybe armor, for example, or some kind of magic ward item or something like that, like an amulet or, you know, one of those kind of magic items to protect him. And it's all done on a like a draft system. So I've separated all my decks and I've sleeved them all. So one's like generic items and one are more race-specific items. So if I wanted to, I can say, okay, I'll take one of the items like as a weapon for the from the Orc and Goblin race-specific items, and the armor as just like a generic armor, that kind of thing. So, and I really enjoyed doing that now, much more than actually making my own sort of magic item list. The other benefit too is that you don't have to spend so much time thinking about what items you're going to take and how you're going to customize each individual hero or character in your army. You just make your army as to the point list that you've decided on. So like for example, I like playing 1500 point games, so I make a 1500 point list. And then on the day, before you play, you do the draft. So you say, okay, well, I've got, like for Magic Standards, for example, we usually only allow one Magic Standard. So that'll be probably your Battle Standard. So he'll probably be the default choice for your Magic Standard, but maybe you want to put that on that standard, Magic Standard, on another banner in your army for another standard bearer. Which is probably a good idea, because once your battle standard dies, they can take, that standard is then gone, and they take the points for that. So you're probably better putting it on a regular standard. That way, they've got to destroy the entire unit before they can claim that standard. And its magical properties will be always active while that unit's still around. So there's one good safeguard I found. Battle standard bearers are not cheap, but for what they do, that added reroll, that added +1 if they're in a unit to a combat result, they're definitely must include. Who did I play last time who didn't take one? Someone didn't take one, and can't remember who it was, but one of our battles, someone didn't take one, and then you just realize how important they are, because once things start breaking and running away, not having that reroll is so important. It can really make or break a game. So, but then I've had battle standard bearers, like army standard bearers, and then failed my first roll. My Black Orcs are a good example of that. Failed the first roll, even though I've got leadership 9 or 8 or something like that after modifiers or whatever. And then got the re-roll and then rolled another 10 or 11. Been very, very unsuccessful with my Black Orcs so far. Every time they get stuck in a battle, in a combat, and then they lose, break, and then get overrun. So I hope with this new paint job they're gonna stand up to the fight next time and kick some ass. That's what they're there for. I have no idea how good we are on time here at the moment, so what I might do, I might just finish off these checks here, and I think we'll have to close this video down for the day, and then come back for another one. But I think it's worth it, guys. I think doing this has been worth it, because I think he's looking better. Don't be afraid don't be worried that you're making big blobs on your armor like that. Like I've done, they're not really defined, perfectly square shapes. We can go back with the black and just correct those as we go along. I just want to make sure that they are white kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like there's no sort of black coming through the white. But yeah, so what do you guys think so far? Was that a good choice that I made? I think so. I think it looks really good, actually. Like I said before, that the black and white checks, just make they're sort of synonymous now with orc and goblins in the Warhammer universe. That they, you look at black and white checks and you automatically think of orcs and goblins, because that just, yeah, it's just typified of, you know, them visually. Their banners and armor and that kind of thing in the 40k universe too. So whoever thought of that, whether it was like a John Blanche thing or whatever, maybe he did a lot of things with checks and back in the day. So maybe it was John's influence in his earlier artworks that that other painters sort of picked up on and sort of carried on from there. Now, I wonder who started the goblin green basing thing. I was thinking that the other day. Who actually came up with that idea? So that's an interesting question. If anybody knows the answer to, I doubt it, but it would have been something that happened a long time ago. Okay, so that's that bottom layer done anyway. So maybe to save time before the next video, I might just finish going through with the black and just correcting all those white checks, just so we don't have to go through all that whole process on the video. I don't think that's really necessary. You saw me do the ones down the bottom, you saw me do the ones down the bottom. Basically just sort of sketching in and defining all the lines to make it as neat as possible, going back and forth with the black and white until you're happy that they look very clean and clear. So, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video today, guys. I'm sorry I couldn't finish it today, but it means that we've got one more video shoot with Gorfang before I can release him into the wilds and back into the unit, and think about what kind of banner we're going to do for him as well. All right, guys. So take care, take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye.